Welcome to our first Healing Solutions podcast. This is our practitioner interview series, and I am so excited today to start our interview series with Sarah Westerway, who is our newest practitioner, healer, hailing from Australia. So we're really excited to have you on our team, Sarah, and I cannot tell you, seriously, how excited I am for this day for you to be on this team, because I know your healing skills and I know how many people you are going to be able to help in your career. And I'm just very thrilled and touched about it. So I'm so glad you're here.
Well, thank you.
Welcome from across the pond.
I know it doesn't feel so far away with Zoom anymore, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. So tell all of our listeners, just tell us about yourself. I mean, I could go on and on about you for hours. I'm just going to let you talk about yourself a little bit and just give us an introduction to who you are, Sarah.
Well, I'm from Australia, and I'm the first person to go through the Healing Solutions Master Program from Australia and the first Australian on the team. So I'm really stoked about that. But I've started this a long time ago. My healing journey started, before I could even remember. When I was 18 months old, I was really sick. The doctors didn't know what was going on, and my parents really wanted to find out what was happening, and they didn't really want to go through the medical treatments that they wanted me to go through. So they were always looking for natural alternatives. And I was just really blessed to have a naturopathic auntie who guided my parents along the way. And, so I've grown up around this all the time. She did a type of kinesiology when we went and saw her, and I've just been around it all the time, and I feel really confident with it. And I feel like this is where I'm meant to be, because it's been a lifetime for me. And, I came to Healing Solutions when I was trying to fall pregnant, and I had a bit of troubles there. But my auntie had passed away, and she was really close to my sister and I, and we really wanted to find somebody or some people who were the same as her. Like, she just was incredible with her knowledge. And when she passed away, we sort of had no one who was the same. And, luckily for my sister, she just found this video, and she was listening to News for the Soul radio and heard about these people who were doing, at the time, quantum techniques. And she said, look, listen to these people. I think these are really cool people. And they're I think it's what my auntie was doing. She was talking about some kind of quantum energy when she was healing herself. So we looked up the video of you online, and she said, see, look at this woman. She's incredible. She's gone from so sick to healed just using this modality. And, and we just were stoked to find people. And I did my first session with Carol Lee, and we were talking about this the other day. It's been 10 years, 2012.
Wow.
Was the first time I spoke to Carol Lee, and she said, I remember telling you you're going to be a healer way back then. And I thought, no way. That wouldn't have even crossed my mind 10 years ago. I was just in the midst of trying to fall pregnant, and I was just trying to get help. And she probably did tell me, I don't remember that, but I thought, that's incredible, her telling me that 10 years ago.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, and then I was lucky to have Healing Solutions Mastery Program offered to me, and I thought, I'll just do this for fun.
Oh, nice. That works.
I thought, I'll just do it for fun, because then I can just learn the skills that I want to do, and I can use it for my kids. And then you kept saying to me, you can do it. You can do it. Just do your exams. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I don't want to do the exams. I'm good.
Yeah.
And then you'd say, you've done your first lot of exams. Now do the next lot of exams. And now do the practitioner part in level 3. And I was thinking, oh my goodness. And it just rolled on. And next thing, I'm on the team. Just incredible, like how it all happens and falls into place.
Well, I'm very persistent when I see someone with the gifts that you have.
Well, I'm very pleased, and I'm very honored, and I'm just blessed to have had you pushing me along the way, because, you know, I knew, I think I sent you a text one time. I said, I can't do the program anymore. I'm just going to have to, you know, pull out. And you said, do not, you will not, or don't you dare. And I thought, okay, all right, I won't. And, you know, like, it just, time dissolves when all the things fall into place and you just start trusting, and, you know, all those fears that I had just dissolved really quickly. And, you know, I think I just couldn't see for a while. And then you could obviously see, and Carolee could see, and the team could see. And, you know, and then I think the light turned on and I went, oh, you know, here I am. This is where I'm meant to be.
Well, and I think, you know, you talked about it a little bit here, but I think your connection with your auntie was so strong, and she was a phenomenal healer. And I think you just resonated and connected with her so strongly because you have that gift as well. And, you know, I think once she was no longer on the planet, I think you were a little lost with that. So I'm really glad that you found us, because I think you have found your home. And like I said, there are so many people that will be able to heal because of you getting back to your roots as a healer. So I'm just honored that you're here and that you chose to work with us. And I couldn't be more pleased. So just really, really excited.
Thank you. Well, I couldn't, you know, think of any better place to be than other than on this team. I feel right at home, and we've just got the best crew. You know, we have incredible healers, and I'm just blown away by the information that we all have together and how powerful we are as a team. We're just, yeah, really blessed.
So let's dive into the next question. And this was one of your questions, which I really like. And I look forward to asking everyone, you know, this question on our team over time, because I think this helps our audience understand, you know, really what we do. So if Healing Solutions had a billboard, what do you think it should say? Besides, call the Australian.
I think it should say, it would say a lot of things. I think it just wouldn't have one statement, but I think one, you're not alone, and two, you don't have to suffer. Because I think a lot of people, probably you don't have to suffer, because a lot of people think that they've just got to live with whatever their diagnosis is, and they get told that's what they've got to deal with, and this will be a lifetime for you, or, you know, oh, you've got to spend 6 years before you can be better, or, you know, and I don't believe that. I think we don't have to be, you know, we don't have to put up with that. And this modality is so powerful in helping people heal. And, you know, before I joined Healing Solutions, my little logo was Your Path to Wellness. So, you know, putting people back on their path to wellness and uncovering those blocks. But yeah, you don't need to suffer. Definitely. I think people feel like they should.
Or like they have no hope, you know, and I think, yeah, my billboard would say there is hope.
Mm.
You know, and my husband always says that. He's like, you and your team are hope dealers. He's like, you are dealing with hope, and you don't know how important that is. Because so many people that work with us have tried everything in traditional and alternative medicine, and they still are suffering and in pain. So we offer hope and healing that they have not accessed before. So.
And the nice thing is we see that every day with our clients. Like, we're around that every day, and we see that, you know, we see what hope does for people. Just, you know, we feel their energy, but we feel when they feel that hope, you know, like, you think they take that first breath for the first time in a long time and say, oh, I think I can see the light at the end of the tunnel now, after all this time of what we say in Australia, being put through the ringer.
Yes, we say that too.
Yeah.
When I grew up, we said that also. Yeah, that's right. You've gone through the ringer.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other question that I have for you is, I don't need to ask you about whether you're an introvert or extrovert. I'm just going to skip that one. So if I do have a question, And I want to twist this one a little bit. You sent me another really good question. If you could say one thing you've learned about, being a practitioner or healer, what would it be? What I would say, just to tweak that a little bit, name the number one thing you have had as an aha moment since becoming a healer.
You know what? I think it's just been in the last couple of days. I had an emergency with my dad.
Yes.
And I was doing this, he's anaphylactic, and they called me, my mum called me and said, Dad's been bitten by a bee, and he normally passes out within 4 minutes. And I was doing the treatment for anaphylaxis, and I just whipped into gear. Like there's something happened, and I just went for it. And then all of a sudden I just felt something, and I just felt this, and I got told, he's shifting, it's moving, he's coming out of it. And I said to Dad, I think you're coming out of it. This whole anaphylactic period is over. And he said, you know what? I just felt the exact same thing. He said, I think I'm coming out of it. And I think it's taken an emergency for me to go, I've got it. I can do it. I can just focus when I need to. I asked God for help and said, the first thing I said is, just show me the way. What do I need to do? Yeah. And my parents are great. Like, they were already doing all the protocols that I've already told them to do if there was an anaphylactic, event, because he knows, like, as soon as he gets stung by a bee, he's generally got 4 minutes. But, that aha moment happened to me only a few days ago. And, I've been around this for so long, and I think it's just that light bulb that went on and said, you got it, you can show the person's body what to do, and this is how it works and how powerful it is. Because he had a headache and it went away. We did end up giving him the adrenaline auto injector, so the EpiPen, but his blood pressure came back. So, it didn't even go up. It was just normal when the paramedics arrived, and they just said, your blood pressure is normal, all your vitals are normal. Yeah. And they were there within half an hour of him being stung, but they said, you've had no real reaction as such. And I thought, wow, this is powerful for somebody in an emergency.
Yes. Well, and I'll tell you that if you can jump into that mode as a healer in an emergency, which becomes automatic, you can do that then in any situation. And usually it takes healers a while to feel comfortable with that, to jump into an emergency like that, to have no fear, just be present, you're a conduit, and go. And so, yeah, you're already, starting out with that experience is really awesome. So, and I'm really glad your dad is okay. He's a wonderful man, and I'm so excited that that happened and that you get to see that firsthand. That's the beauty of this. And and the one thing that we have to be careful of as healers is you have positive feedback every day, so then you just kind of take it for granted. And the other day I had about 6 emails in one day about these profound shifts, and I just sat there and I read them, and I just sat there for a while, and I thought, I need to really soak this in, because it's every day. But to really recognize the sacredness of the work that we're doing to help people get their lives back. And it's really important, and it's really profound. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's a really great story.
Yeah, I loved it. I just thought it was just, everything happened perfectly. We reflected back on it that day, and my mum said, I thought you might have been on another call with another client. If we weren't at the house, if I hadn't started under nose, tapping, she started thinking about that. She said everything fell into place. Everything just was, and it's incredible how it all happens when you trust. And, it's through you and our team that I've learnt to really trust. And, we were talking about it that day, trust your testing. And that's really, I think it's really powerful and important for us to just trust that we were given the answers from, above, and just to go with that. And it's nice to hear feedback.
I think too, I think it's really important to teach people the tools that we have. Like you just said, okay, if someone's going into anaphylaxis, their polarity is reversed. You hit side of the hand and under the nose and you keep tapping here. Just those simple things. And people that work with us pick up those tools and resources and ideas from working with us. And then they can, buy products. They can join the, as you did, the Healing Solutions Practitioner Mastery Program. So we offer that to people too, because our goal is really to empower people in their healing. It's okay if they want to call and do sessions and get help, but also for them to be able to, after they've done enough healing, to step forward in their lives and to say, hey, I can do this for myself too, or my family, even some of the rudimentary things that can really literally save someone's life. So we're really excited about that component too, about sharing this.
Yeah, and I found like my sister was, her and we bought Truth Techniques. I think we bought that in 2013, just for us to learn just really simple techniques, just to learn how to muscle test. We were just interested in that. And then just through learning some of those products along the way, we've just picked up little things like that. And that was so, that's life-saving. That side of hand under nose was life-saving. And, Mum straight away did that as soon as he was bitten, and then he was doing it as well. And, little things that you pick up.
That's right.
And like you said, you don't have to know it as, to be a practitioner. You can just call in, but just those little things that, I've shared with people that don't even know how to test. My parents know what testing is, and, a lot of my clients know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily have to know exactly how to test, or, intention's so powerful.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. And the codes we have on our website too for, for injectants if you get stung, or viruses and other things. So yeah, those are just really gifts to people. I have another question for you, and I'm excited to hear your answer on this one. So Sarah, what do you hear people say, and then you say, oh, that's not true, in regards to healing?
The thing that really probably I hear more than anything is a time frame.
Yep.
The doctor told me, or whoever they're seeing told me, it is going to take me this long to recover. I will have this forever. And I think, wow, no, you don't have to put a time frame on your healing. Some things do take a lot longer than other things. But yeah, I think the one that I really hear the most is a time frame. And particularly with kids, that aggravates me the most, because, I've had clients say, the pediatrician has said my kids won't grow out of this until they're such and such.
Yes. Or they never will.
Or they never will. We just have to put up with that. Yeah. And sometimes I think, I see kids with eczema all over their skin, and their parents are just going, well, let's just put a cream on it and mask it up. And I think they don't have to live with that. If we dealt with it, and it'd probably be a simple fix and the eczema would go away. I think time frames are my biggest pet. They peeve me off more than anything else, because I think, no, there's no time frame.
Yeah, I think for me, it's very similar too. The time frame thing of, I was told it's going to take this long to heal. I have to go to the chiropractor 3 times a week for 7 years, things like that. Yeah. And then also very similar to that, I've just gone to my doctor, and, he gave me 3 months to live. Because people believe those things that they hear. And then we're here to help them move through that, because a lot of, Bruce Lipton showed in his work through Biology of Belief how people are very susceptible to, especially what a doctor will tell them, but someone that they care about, what they tell them. So if you say to someone, I don't think you'll ever heal from this, and that is an important person to you, you will really take that in as truth. And so, one of our jobs is to help people with, false beliefs and with fear and trauma, because, if the cells of the body are in a fear state, we don't heal. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think Gabor Mate, he's a Hungarian who lives in Canada. He was talking about how he knew this lady and she was terminal, and the doctor said, you won't survive. There's no way you will survive. And he said, I can't remember the years, but 15 years later, she's still here. And she was just, I think for her, it was, no one's going to tell me that. And, she was terminal. And she cured herself through different modalities, but she wasn't going to take it. She thought, no, you can't tell me that at all. So, I mean, there's blessings in what you're being told as well, but, yeah.
Well, I think about so many clients I've worked with over the years that will come in and say, I know I'm the worst client that you've ever had with this issue. They told me at this clinic, they told me at that clinic, they said, oh, you're the worst case we've ever seen. And that's one of those times where I'm like, that is not true. Don't believe that. If you believe you're the worst I've ever seen, then you don't believe you're going to get better. So yeah, I think we work with a lot of that. Because a lot of people have tried and they have fallen down and they're scared and they've lost hope and they start to believe, some untruths and negative messages. And, that's a part of our job is also helping people hold that sacred space of what is true and showing them what is true and what's possible for them in their healing.
Yeah, and just showing them, like you said, just showing them truth is just powerful in itself. That just helps them see. And, like I think in the start of when I was just doing treatments, I'd say to you, have you ever dealt with and you'd say, probably, I don't know, like you've seen it all before. And, I had a client the other day, he said, oh, this will sound so stupid to you. And I said, no, not at all. Like nothing surprises me. Nothing you say would make me think, oh, that's so silly statement, or, because our subconscious is so powerful that it'll tell us anything. So, we're not surprised what we hear.
Well, and so many of our clients are used to being judged because many of our clients are chronically ill and they've tried many different things and they're still sick. So they're used to being judged. They're used to being told, oh, that's just all in your head, go to a therapist. They're used to being told those things and being judged. So one of the things that is really important is that we don't have judgment. We understand the journey because, most of us have been there and gone through some kind of healing journey, some kind of major life disappointments, whatever the case may be, so that we can hold that loving space for somebody without judgment. And I think that's really important. And that's one of the things I've heard from clients over the years that I really value is, no one on your team is judgmental. And I'm so used to feeling like a, schmuck when I leave a clinic or when I leave, I'm trying to get some help and I walk away feeling like something's wrong with me. I just don't get it, So, yeah.
And no wonder they don't heal, because you think, that's so what other people's opinions are still matter to us. And, I think just as a healer, it's just very simple to be kind. But for some people, that's not, like seeing a doctor that just tells them it's all in their head. And, I've had a client who was told it was all in his head. And in the end, it wasn't, of course. And he had physical problems. And when we cleared all that and we worked through that, he got so much better. And he said, I thought I was going crazy. I was told I'm going crazy. So
he's someone who had Lyme disease, right?
Yeah. And how awful to think that you're going crazy and you actually have something going on with you and just being passed off.
That's right. Sarah, I honestly believe you were born a healer. In fact, I know that you were. Why did you choose this modality for doing your healing work? What is special about it for you?
When I went to see my auntie every time without fail, if she did iridology on me, so looking in the eye with the light, I would burst into tears every time. And she'd say, "Why are you crying for?" And I'd say, "Because I know you can see what I ate," or
Oh,
"I know you can see how stressed I am," or, like she'd look into my eyes and she'd say something to me. And I remember her saying one time, "Do you know, I think you're going to be a naturopath one day." And I was like, "Really? I don't like, oh, she must see this." And I thought, yeah, that's really cool. I just loved what she did. Anyway, I was going through my own healing and I just loved naturopathy. Like I just absolutely loved it. And then, as you said, when she died, it just sort of, I just was stuck. And this modality was the one that saved me, but also showed me so many different aspects of it. And it's not just naturopathy, it's not just kinesiology, it's just so many things together, and you get a really clear picture. And I mean, I've never known any healer other than Healing Solutions to do the scans that we do, to find emotions that are driving physical problems. And, it's just this really extensive way to heal. And when I found this and I'd gone through my own healing and then I was really ready to study, I just knew this was what it was going to be. It was just, it's so comprehensive. I mean, I think I've said to you, "What do you do for this?" And you just straight away tell me the answer. And I think, oh, I thought I was going to trick you with that one. What about if someone has this problem and you'd say, "Well, you do this." And I think, is there anything that hasn't been thought of in this modality? It's just, and it's just, I don't know. I think it's just so incredible how complete it is. It's just this complete modality that I've never experienced. And I've been around all types of modalities through my life. And this is the one.
well, the beauty of energy medicine is, like you were saying, you can bring in all kinds of concepts because our testing, our energetic testing can cover anything under the sun. So we can bring in all kinds of concepts, all of our different backgrounds, physical, emotional, nutritional, spiritual, structural, you name it, mental health issues, and cover all of them completely, like you said. And I've been doing this a long time, I think 21 years now, but I will say that I learn something new almost every day, and I learn it from my clients. And, I fully believe that we are all conduits. That's all that we are. We individually don't know much. We're just people. But I believe that we're conduits, and that's where our information comes from. It comes from the divine. And when we are a conduit for truth, then everything happens perfectly. And that doesn't mean everyone heals in one session. But what it means is, that we are there holding that space for a person, and we receive, really divine information for them, for their healing. And that can be on any subject under the sun. So I love learning from clients and people that bring new issues that I've never seen before. And then we learn something new, and that helps us to learn, to keep learning new, but also to help the next 25 people that come in the door. And just yesterday, I didn't know how to do that. And now today I do, because I learned something from a client or from a session to see things a certain way. And then that helps that next person that has anaphylaxis or Parkinson's or whatever they have. So, yeah.
And quite often on our team meetings, you'll say, "I've had 3 or 4 clients this week who've mentioned such and such." And you say, "I think this will be really helpful for the rest of our clients." And sure enough, then I'll get a client with the same problem. Or, Carolee or Tom, like one of the people on the team will say, "I've had the same thing." Or 3 of my clients this week have all called me with this same issue.
Well, I remember when I was really given the stroke protocol. And I had a client that called, and her mom had had a stroke, and I had never treated that before for anyone. And I just asked for help. I said, God help me, because I don't know what to do for this person. And sure enough, it was like a beautiful painting that was shown to me, and I knew exactly where to go. And the woman healed completely. And then, yeah, I think I had about 12 clients with strokes over the next 10 days because it was like, okay, yep, this light went on. It's like, okay, the light's on here, go there and ask for help because we know how to help this now. So it's really beautiful how that happens.
Yeah, and it's awesome seeing that unfold each week. Something really cool happens each week when we get together and talk about it. So
yeah, it's fun. It's really fun. It's a blast.
Yeah, it is fun.
So Sarah, you talked some about your dad with the anaphylaxis, treating someone with Lyme disease. What are and I guess it sounds maybe silly to say favorite issues to treat people for, but like what do you feel like your specialty is so far, or what are some of the issues that you've been working with people on so far?
Yeah, I guess there's a range, and I think as it's interesting, like most of the time I deal with something and then I've got a client with the same thing. Like
Yep.
I had nightmares and I couldn't sleep, and then I had a client who had nightmares and couldn't sleep, and then I love working on the non-physical side of things, like helping people with the emotional side of stuff and really showing them, we look at emotions, vows, beliefs, and intentions. And I think the intentions are my favorite thing in a scan. Like I just look at that and go, what is their intention? Subconscious, consciously, whatever it is, what is driving this? And quite often when I get to the intention list and I find something, I go, oh, that's really cool. Like, I can tell them and I can explain to them, their intention behind what it is. And most of the time they say, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. This has happened to me and this is why I feel this way. And, or the emotions, and I start going through some of the emotions with people. And I don't think I've ever had someone who has really said, no, that can't be, no, that's not right. Or, most of the time when we do the non-physical.
Don't have it happen.
Yeah. Well, in terms of going through the non-physical, people normally go, yeah, I can see how that happens. I mean, they don't necessarily have to be conscious of it, but when you show them what's happening, they'll say, oh yeah, I can see how that happens. Like they don't necessarily say, oh yeah, I have this intention, but the non-physical side of things is, I think, really powerful for people, just to give them some answers behind it. And, I've had so many people who've had non-physical driving the physical, and we deal with that and the physical symptoms go away. Headaches and backaches in particular, I think, are really driven by non-physical stuff with my clients in particular, and things that can shift. Yeah.
The world is how our health manifests. One of the things that Carolyn Mace said years ago, your biography becomes your biology. And it does. What traumas you've gone through in your life, how you see the world based on what's happened to you in your childhood affects everything in your health. And we help people to get back to, their true nature, which is healthy. Yeah. Through that non-physical field, the emotional, spiritual field. And, I truly believe, and the longer I do this work, the more I believe it, that all healing is reconnection to your heart and the divine. And in that reconnection, you heal. And it sounds very simple, but it is so true.
Mm. And I think a lot of people can be surprised that their symptoms are just non-physical.
Yeah.
Like, how can that happen? It blows people away. I mean, even though they recognize that is true, or that emotion is, resonates with them, sometimes they think, how could something, non-physical drive my physical symptoms? And we see that a lot.
Yeah. Well, we're created to heal ourselves. So if we can't get over a virus, for example, it's like, okay, then what's really blocking us? And of course, there are physical components. Dehydration is a big one. Eat poor food choices. All of those things play a part. But yeah, it's what's that? And a lot of times there's a real core issue, which is emotionally based. It's affecting the immune system across the board. So I think, that's what you're talking about.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So next question. This one is fun. Sarah, what is the one common myth about our healing profession that you would like to debunk for the world?
When I told someone that I'm friends with that I was going to do this modality, he said to me, well, what is it? And I said, it's like kinesiology. And he said, really? I didn't realize you were a hippie that sung Kumbaya. And I said, what has that got to do with it? And he said, you really are a hippie. I did not know that about you. And I said, what has that got to do with that? And he said, well, anything that's energy and blah, blah, blah has to be people, being hippies singing Kumbaya. And I thought, that's not true. That would be fun on team meetings singing Kumbaya. But I believe we're just regular people who just have this gift to help people. And you don't have to be a hippie. You don't have to be anything to do this work. It's just natural to us. And yeah, I think he had this idea that for me to help people in this way, you had to be, I don't know, I think he just thought we're all hippies. But I've got lots of friends who are hippies and they're just incredible people. And I think, I didn't get it.
Well, it's really interesting because when I lived in Hawaii, and he's one of my very best friends, my friend there who runs a hair salon. And when I first moved there, I walked in and we became fast friends like immediately. And he said, well, what do you do for a living? And I said, I'm a healer and I specialize in helping people all over the world with chronic conditions. And he looked at me and he said, but you don't look like a new age mama. And I said, like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't look like a hippie. You look normal. I am normal. But yeah, so that's a very, very common perception, and again, I know I mentioned Bruce Lipton's name earlier. He has really helped put healing on the map as being a normal thing because he's a scientist, right? He's a Stanford educated scientist and he loves energy medicine. So he has helped, make our field of healing work and energy medicine, much more like medicine than woo energy healing, So I'm very grateful to him for helping us with that, from the work he's put out there. So
yeah, he's incredible. His work is awesome. Yeah,
it's phenomenal. So thank you. Good answer. I like that. I liked it. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So Sarah, I guess this was probably before you were born, but way back before you even knew about energy medicine, if someone had said, Sarah, one day you will be an energy medicine practitioner or you will be a healer, what would you have said? Or what would you have thought about that?
Well, I guess, with my auntie saying that to me, you would be a naturopath, because I looked at her and I thought, no, I don't think so. But
what did you think that you didn't have like the intuition or the skills, or did you think it sounded, what did you think?
Yeah, she introduced me to a lot of things. Like she introduced me to the spiritual side of things more than anything else. And at times I believed and I saw a lot of stuff. Like she was really close to Saint Germain. And I saw a lot of things, like she gave us lots of books and the books resonated with me. So underneath all that, I could see why she probably thought that, because I was really interested in the spiritual side of things, and I went to Catholic school, so I understood spirituality. But when it came to being a healer, I thought, I don't think I have the skills to do that, to help people, because, she just, when I was around her, she just made everything feel better. And I thought, how do you do that? And I didn't have the skills. And I guess you have to learn some skills, of course, to do it. And I didn't have those. And I think I remember saying to you, how will I ever, and I think I used the word compete, and
Yes.
how will I ever compete against you incredible people on the team? And you said, Sarah, why is it a competition? And I went, okay, wrong word, but that's how it was coming out. And I thought, okay, I'm telling myself it's a competition. And I had to stop myself thinking, because we're all on the same field, we're all on the same level. And one thing I had to debunk for myself was it's a competition. And once I stopped that, and I gained some skills, and I just went through the levels, and each level increased my knowledge, and I thought, okay, now I get it. So it's taken me a while, but I think way back then you haven't got the skills and you don't have the knowledge. So it's really hard to believe. Whereas once you start doing it and you're interested in something and you start learning those skills, like I was a school teacher, and my first year, I thought, how am I ever going to be a school teacher? How am I ever going to learn how to deal with students and help them? And then as the years went on, it flowed, and you think, okay, now I understand it. And now I know what to do, because, you're fresh into something. You're not going to know everything. And, we never will. Our team meetings are full of information that we're always learning each week. So I think when someone says something to you and you don't have the skills yet, that's really hard to fathom. But if that's really your true calling, you just think, okay, well, if this is where I'm meant to be, I'll be guided and I'll know what I need to. And, like the other day with my dad, I just prayed that I would have help and I would see what I needed to do and how to reconnect and how to pull him out of anaphylaxis if he was going to go into it, and what I needed to do. And, just learning to trust has been my biggest, lesson to get where I am, and trust that I'm meant to be.
That's right. Well, and, we never stop learning. And that's how it is for all of us in life, hopefully. But we never stop learning. And, the thing that is probably, I would say, the scariest thing with healers is if they think they have all the answers. Then I'm scared of that, because it's never true. We don't ever have all the answers. We're always learning and growing and seeing new things, and able to help people in different and new ways, and always learning constantly, as long as we're here and as long as we're alive. So if I ever have all the answers, just give me a swift kick, because it's not going to be true.
Well, and Carolee said to me, she said, just before I officially became a team member, just in the between stage,
Sure.
I had all my clients, but I haven't officially joined the team. I was sending a lot of my clients on to either to you or Tom or to Carolee. And I said to her, I feel like I should send this client on to you or to Beth, whoever would like to take. I can't even remember the client at the moment. She wrote back in an email and said, Sarah, if you keep sending every client who is a challenge to you, how will you learn and how will you get better? Because the challenges keep you going and keep you getting better rather than staying on that same plane. And I thought, oh, okay. So trust that these clients are coming to me because that's where they're meant to be. And that was
that you can help them, that you can help them. They're being sent to you for a purpose, because you can help them, or they wouldn't be coming to you.
A few times I've had to be told straight from the team. And I love that. I mean, no one's afraid to tell anybody, just the truth. And, we say it in such a nice way, and she was so loving. But, every time I've had to have my butt kicked, it's been in such a kind way, but a profound way. And I think, oh, thank goodness that someone said it to me in that way.
So what motivates you? What motivates you the most doing this work? What motivates you every day? What keeps you wanting to do this, or why do you want to do this?
I just want people to feel better. Like, I think people get stuck, and I think we've often talked about it becomes their identity, their illness becomes their identity, and people get stuck. And I think this work is just so powerful in helping them become unstuck. And over the years of having clients through doing the program, I've just found that it's just so helpful and powerful for people to move through this and see what is available to them and what they're capable of. I mean, people who've suffered for backaches, and I think people in their 30s who have serious backaches, and then all of a sudden they're feeling better, they can play with their kids, and I think they just see something. And I just love seeing people, and it gives you a real buzz knowing that somebody has moved through that, the stuckness that they get. And I think that, and we talk about how people have healed on our team, and I think that's incredible. Some of the things that our team practitioners have really helped people with is just really incredible to hear, and drives me to help people too, because I think, we're each helping one more person and one more person and one more person.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's really what keeps me going, is I just want to help people be well and be free of what's holding them back in life, and just be, recreated into who they're supposed to be, who they're really supposed to be here. And that's not a sick person. Yeah, there's nothing like it. It's
and I also like seeing people move away from the drama of being sick. Like some people just, they don't see it, but they fill their lives with drama, and the sickness or the illness or whatever it is that they're working on is a drama for them that keeps them going. And when you help them through that and they don't have those dramas anymore, it's just like, their life is so much better without all that on top of it. And even just like, yeah, you go.
One of the things is that, and one thing that and that I like for clients to recognize as well, is no one chooses chronic illness. It is survival mode and defense mechanisms, and it's nothing anyone would ever choose. And we know that. It's unconscious, and there are unconscious intentions there, but no one would ever choose the drama of chronic illness rationally or consciously. So we know it's about being in survival mode, and we help people to find, what is their original wound where they were put into survival mode. Usually it's as a very young child. And then what triggered that as they became an adult that ended up manifesting in chronic illness. And we are experts at that at Healing Solutions. That is our bread and butter. So to be able to give someone hope and show them that, and how they can be free of it, there's just nothing like it in the world.
And sometimes it's, when we deal with traumas and going back to what's an anchoring trauma for somebody, some people are too little to understand. It might have been when they were 1 and they don't have any recollection of it. But then other times they say, yeah, I remember that event, and now I can see why that's driving this for me today. So a lot of people recognize that, even though back then they didn't know that it was going to, 20 years later, create something for them.
Yeah. That's right.
Mm.
So who has influenced you to be here? I know your auntie massively. We've talked some about Bruce Lipton too. Do you have other influences in your life that you feel, have brought you to really recognizing your, and I keep calling it your healing gift because that's what it is. Who else has influenced you? I think you're going to say your parents because
I was going to say them first. Yeah, they have been incredible. Like whatever I have decided to do in my life, they have been 100% behind me. They've just, and with this, they have been incredible supporters, but incredible clients. They just trust me, and this has helped me to develop my skills. And my sister she's nearly 6 years older than me. So as the little sister, she's been incredible in my life. Like she has forged the way in so many things. Like when she was having her kids, she had to fight for so many things. She wanted to do the natural approaches, and she didn't want to have so many medications when she was pregnant, and she didn't want to have so many tests, and she didn't want her boys to be, and I just watched her and thought, wow, this is just how she stood up for herself. And then when I had Ruby, when I was pregnant with Ruby and they wanted to do all these unnecessary tests and blah, 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 I thought it gave me confidence to stand up for myself. And then by the time Sam came along, it's like the world had done a shift, and my sister had to really fight for a lot of things. And then by the time Sam's 3 now, but by the time he came along, there seemed to be a shift, and people were accepting, in particular, pregnancy, rights of choice, and the way you wanted to birth and the way you wanted to, have your kids was just a lot different. And I found a hospital, and the midwives, I had a private midwife, and everything I asked for, it was honoured. It was such a sacred space. And I thought I was just so thankful to my sister for paving the way for that in particular. As a mum, she's just been incredible and an incredible influence to me as a mum too. But, she's the first person to introduce me to this work and to show me your video. She was the one who did the research and found it, and I just rang Carolee. I just took the number and rang Carolee, but she was the one who did all the research, and she'd send me so much stuff, and she'd say, look, read this, do that, look at this information. And she was throwing information left, right and centre at me about how we have choice in our life and how we can, be empowered. So she's been a real incredible influence to me. And probably as a little kid, we probably didn't get along very well, but it was when we both maybe reached our 20s that we really connected, and we really connected as sisters. And, that bond is really strong for my sister and I. And then, Lynette, who's my auntie, of course, just showing me the way and how to help people. So she's probably been the teacher of healing. She taught me a lot of things, and as a kid I didn't understand it, and quite often I thought things that she was suggesting to me were kind of weird, and they probably were. In the 90s, 80s and 90s, it was a bit probably all very new. And then when she passed away, I really was looking for a naturopath and someone who could help me naturally with supplements and things. And I found an incredible healer in Bateman's Bay, and her name's Di, and she is an incredible naturopath. And when I saw her, I was like, she's never going to, add up, she's never going to compare to my auntie. And when I went in, I went in and she was just incredible. She was intuitive, and she just got me. And I thought, wow, I'm just blessed to have had her now. And when I was going through this, she offered to mentor me. So she mentored me for 6 months to help me build my healing business, because she said to me, I know how hard it is as a young mum, starting out something new and starting out from scratch, starting to study. And she mentored me through the business side of things, but also developing my intuition, for this work. But, you have been my ultimate influencer in this work, because it's just, you are the power force of this, you are the most incredible leader of this team. And every time that one of us has, any kind of, I won't say doubts, because we don't necessarily have doubts, but just something, and you go, nope, this is how it's going to happen. Sarah, you can't feel sorry for yourself anymore. I'll let you have 5 minutes and that's it. And I think, okay. But you have this way about you that is incredible way of dealing with people. And I think people have told you this a zillion times before, that, like you tell people the truth in such a blunt way, but the kindest way ever that anyone could say something to you. Like, you're just so kind in how you deal with your clients and with us as our practitioners. And if ever I could be like you on the team, well, that would make my day.
Thank you. You're very kind. You're very kind. I've been doing this so long that, I guess I am blunt. And I didn't used to be that way. But I want people to heal so badly. And I know they are not calling and paying me, so I can just tell them what they want to hear, right? They're paying me very good money to be well. And so, after I'd been doing this for a while, that finally really sunk in for me. It's like, you're not here to be their friend. I will love them and care for them, but I will tell them the truth that they need to hear for their healing. Otherwise, they're wasting their time and money. And I just don't feel right about that. So yeah, I kind of learned to cut to the chase. And, but really trying to do that in speaking the truth, but also in a loving way. So Sarah, would you share a little bit about the Healing Solutions Practitioner Mastery program that you went through to become, certified and to become a practitioner? Because I think there's some people that are, really interested in that are listening.
Yeah, so Healing Solutions has this really awesome program. So depending on where you want to be, there's a level for you. So you can just do the basic self-testing and that's it. So you can learn just for yourself, for your friends and family, just to test, simple foods or things like that. So you don't necessarily have to go through each of the levels to learn that. But I started off just learning truth techniques at the start, and then I had the reconnection scan. And those two beginning products have been my favorite. And just truth techniques and reconnection scan are probably the two basic ones that you would start off at. And then level 1 is broken into 2 parts. So level 1A, which is with Kalyani Heather Lynn, and she teaches you how to go from a beginner to a confident tester. Yeah. And then level 1B is with Dr. Tom Miller, and that is taking what you've learnt through Kalyani to the next level, to clearing toxins and clearing pathogens and doing a few more scans. And then level 2 is with Dr. Carolee Johnson, and she does the more of the advanced scans, so clearing cell surface receptors and more of the physical scan. And then level 2B is with you, where you talk about the non-physical components of healing. At each point, so at level 1, you can do your exams, and then at level 2, you can do your exams. And then at the end of level 2, I think from memory, after you've finished your exams, you get invited to do level 3 training with you to do the next part. So I think I told you a long time ago, I think I might have even said like 5 or 6 years ago, I want to be a practitioner. Yeah. And then sort of already told you that's where I was wanting to go. Yeah. But yeah, for anybody, you don't necessarily have to want to be a practitioner to do any of the levels. But I think going through each of the levels just gives you that little bit more that you can do. So even if you didn't want to do the exams, that you can just build on your knowledge, and just that little bit more gives you probably a little bit better scan, and you can then do a little bit more advanced stuff, even if you just want to do it for yourself.
Yeah. Well, over the years, we've had a lot of healers that they have their own practice and they love just adding in the work from Healing Solutions into what they already do to help people. So they like to go through the certification process, to help themselves learn more, like you're saying. And then there's some that we really feel are called to be on our team, like you. So it all works out really well. Wherever someone is and where they land is really where they're supposed to be. So, yeah.
And if somebody does the level 1 with Caliani, or the cohort with JC, with Juan Carlos, so there's the cohort that takes you through each of the levels as well as a program. But as soon as you do one of those, you can join the Facebook page for the study group. And then, so the study group is everyone who wants to study Healing Solutions, whether it's just for the basic level or the practitioner level, all the way up.
Right.
And to give people help for, any questions or whatever they have.
Well, and you set up the Healing Solutions study group Facebook page, thankfully, or probably never would have happened. So that's been a wonderful tool for students. So I'm really grateful that you set that up. It's been really very helpful. And the other thing for people too, in terms of, I'd really like to talk about how someone listening to this can get a session with you, because it will change their life in a positive way. So how do you prefer that people contact you?
So probably the easiest way is go to the Healing Solutions website, and on there, so www.besthealingsolutions.com, and there's a session request form. So the person can fill that in, and that has my details there. It says, who would you like to contact? And my name's in that list. And then as soon as that happens, that gets emailed to me, and then I can set up a session for that person. Otherwise, my email is sarah@besthealingsolutions.com. So they're probably the easiest ways to either email me directly or just go through the Healing Solutions website for a session request.
What is one thing that you'd like to share with everybody about you that, really something in your personal life or something that you feel really aids you in being a really wonderful healer?
I'm probably a perfectionist, maybe with a little bit of OCD. so when
we get along.
Sorry?
That's why you and I get along.
So probably when I learn something, I probably want to learn a little bit more and a little bit deeper. So when I've gone through the levels, I've also taken it a step further. And if there's any references in the level 1s, I've read it. So if there's a book, I get it. If there's a reference to an online article, I get it and I read it. So I feel like then I've got a really good overall picture of what this is. And when I'm dealing with people with chronic illness, it's just helpful to have extra knowledge on top of that about whatever it is that they're dealing with, and how we can really help them. But yeah, I like to be a perfectionist in my scans, and sometimes that means I'm going to hopefully find what it is that's driving that, and if it's there and I can see it, I'll find it. So yes. Yeah. And I know when I did my exams with you, I could see there was something, and I just, I couldn't find it at the time, and I thought it will come to me. And then by the end of my exams, I found what it was, and I went back through my charts, and there it was. And I think it was just an emotion I could see it, but so I go back, and I think hopefully I'm thorough with my scan, so that whoever does a session with me feels like they've had a thorough session and we get to the bottom of what it is.
Yes, I would agree with that completely.
Well, I learned from someone who's a perfectionist and is very thorough in their scans. So,
Perhaps a woman who's in Florida sitting in the dark.
Where are you?
I'm glad the lights came on. It was
Yeah,
perfect.
it was. Yeah.
Well, I could talk to you all night.
I know. I love it.
Wait for you to get here someday so that we can. But I really appreciate you sharing what you did today. And you know, the world is your oyster. There are so many people that you are going to help, and I am so blessed and grateful to have a small part in your life of bringing you to this place, because I just know it's going to be awesome. And there are so many people out there waiting for you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I just appreciate you taking this time with me, and it's been fun. You know, we always talk forever, and we never stop.
Yeah, my husband said, "No, don't make it a 2-hour interview. I know when you and Sarah get going." So,
All right.
all right.
Well, thank you, and thank you, Gil, for giving you the time. Sounds good. All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much.